If you would, please silence your cell phones. Brenda, would you give us a roll call, please?
Howe,
Here.
Johnson,
Here.
Jones,
Here.
Long,
Here.
Maynard,
Here.
Monroe,
Here.
Hartman.
Here. Thank you. Okay. Now, we need to check over the minutes from October the 4th. Does anyone have any additions or corrections to the minutes?
I've read the minutes, they look proper. I say we vote on it.
Okay, are you making a motion to
Yes, I
approve?
am.
Thank you. Is there a second?
I'll second.
No seconds. Would you give us a call, Brenda?
Howe,
Abstain.
Johnson,
Yes.
Jones,
Yes.
Long,
Yes.
Maynard,
Yeah.
Monroe.
Abstain.
Okay. Now, the findings of facts. We had Meridian Street, Dorothy Truman and Cynthia Thrasher for the sign replacement, the Idlewild.
And again, I will make that a motion because they've already got that up. I went past there and it was nice.
Good.
I'll second that.
Okay. Brenda, would you give us a roll call?
Howe,
Yes.
Johnson,
Yes.
Jones,
Yes.
Long,
Yes.
Maynard,
Yeah.
Monroe.
Abstain.
Okay. So, our findings of fact are approved. Do we have any other old business? Okay. We'll move on to new business. We have docket 13 BZA V-21 for Carolyn Burbank, 6002 South 400 East Gas City, zoned agriculture. Would you take the stand, please, and give us your name and sign in with your name and address for the record, please?
Okay. I'm Carolyn Burbank. I live at 6002 South 400 East Gas City, and I'm asking for a variance for my north side of my property line. We wish to build a garage, and I'm trying to avoid my leach field, which is in line with, I want to stay away from it, so that's why I want to build a little closer to the property line so that I avoid that area.
Okay.
Okay.
Ryan, would you give us the staff report on this petition?
So what we have is a variance from the area-wide ordinance. They're looking to build a 960 square foot garage, 8 foot off the north property line, instead of the required 14 foot In this area, we have limited location due to the septic location and the required 10-foot separation from the leach field, that they have to be off of the leach field. The current location that they're looking at basically lines up with the driveway that's in existence. We've got a tree line along the north property line that should act as a natural buffer between the two properties also. They did have the property surveyed for line locations. We did bring this to the commissioners, and they sent it forward with a favorable recommendation, and the staff would concur.
Okay, I was by your property and looked at it. You're gonna have to remove some trees there, I assume, to fit that in, aren't you?
Well, we'll probably have, we removed some trees already, we'll probably have to trim up on that side.
Okay. All right.
And then Ed, in that last picture, the yellow line is about where we would be looking at the edge of the building compared to the tree line, approximately.
Last picture. Yes, okay. Yeah, okay. All right. Okay, does the board have any questions for the applicant?
I have a couple. The yard right next to you from the tree line, who owns that? That big yard in front of you, or to the side of you,
To the
north?
north of me is Brian Lake.
Is that the one that lives all the way to the back?
Mm-hmm.
It's not anybody, because you got neighbors all around, and you said you had neighbors who were okay with it. But
Oh, behind me is, on the, west side and the south side, that property is, actually, I co-own that property with my brother.
okay.
So I already kinda own that property, so it's okay with me.
But I meant, you said the neighbors were okay
But
with
the-
it, and then you
But
had
the
neighbors.
north side
back, yeah.
is Brian Lake, and I have spoken with him, and he told me he didn't have a problem with it.
I'm just wondering what kind of trees you're gonna put back in there. Do you have any idea? Because you gotta plant some kind of a tree that'll live anymore. You're gonna have to do that, because you're gonna take out a lot of trees. Looks like to me, you're gonna take out trees.
We've already taken out about 7 trees, and all we really planned to do was just trim up the other trees so that we could build there.
I have one more question.
Uh-huh.
You're 6 feet short, but you're gonna put a 6-foot porch on for the garage.
Right,
That seemed kind of weird to me. If you're 6 feet short and you're putting on a 6-foot porch, it'll take up the rest of the way. So you're actually putting a porch and a garage.
right.
So-
Where the garage would line up though, also, like he mentioned, would line up with the existing driveway that's already there.
And also the reason we're going this way is because the projected site to the south of that is the leach field.
Yeah, I understood
So it's-
that, but
it's
I'm
either-
saying 6 feet is 6 feet.
But that still gives her 10-foot. Her options are it either is there or she has to go all the way to the back. She would have to go around the leach field, do a driveway to the back to be able to place it in her property.
This porch is gonna be connected.
Okay, I've got a question, with Bob. She has the petition for the garage, but she's building a garage and a porch, is that my understanding?
It's the standard
It's
barn with a
it's
small porch
gonna have
inside
an
of it.
overhang that comes out from the
Okay, well, what
garage.
I'm saying is she's
That
building.
is part of
she's
the
building a-
garage.
Yeah,
Okay.
it's part of the garage.
I'm still not getting the answer to the question that I wanna ask, that is, she's building a garage and a porch.
It's all.
It's all one.
So, well, there's no such thing as all one and with a garage, it's either a garage or not. So there's a garage, and then she has to put the porch on, is that correct? Am I saying that
That's
right?
what I'm thinking, I don't,
That's what I'm thinking, because
But-
the petition says she wants a garage, which we're fine with that, but it doesn't mention anything about a porch. Okay. So, was that what she was meaning?
Well, I
She
mean,
wanted to put-
a lot of your standard pole barns come with that porch.
Okay. Is this a
part of
pole
the
barn?
Plans.
It's kind of a mixture, I guess. I'm calling it a garage, but it has,
It's a pole-built structure. It's
yeah,
gonna be a
it's gonna
garage.
be, the metal, like,
Yeah.
metal garages are.
Okay, so you're building a pole barn slash garage, okay, so that's why this
Right.
pad for the porch, that goes with
I
the,
guess a little clarification, is it just an overhang, or are you bringing it out with lumber on the floor?
It's gonna be an overhang, but the cement will be
under.
under the overhang part.
Under the overhang?
It sounds like some pole barns, when
Uh-huh.
you see on the side, they have them overhangs around the front.
Well, I think what Lois's question, you're still getting 6 feet there.
Yeah.
I don't understand that either.
Mhm.
You 6 feet, 6 feet.
Right.
That you're moving closer to your leach bed.
Yeah.
Regardless of where you're putting it or how you're putting it, why not bring your property in 6 feet and forget that porch?
It's a little bit of the aesthetics too.
Well, but rules are rules.
Right.
Go by the rule.
Well, it's a it's a 30 by 40 structure, really.
With the porch,
Yeah,
With the porch.
Including.
But that's not what the application said, it says 24 by 40 for the garage.
Yeah, when I filled out the application, I didn't realize that they counted the porch as part of the structure, so that's why it says that.
Brian, did you explain to her that that porch would be an additional footage? Or did you just assume that the 24 with the porch would be okay?
I assume the porch would be okay. I mean, we're, with the location that we're at, with where she can build at, with, you know, most of the yard barns, or most of the pole barns that we see go up of this kind have the porch included, so we've probably done 400 of them this year, so I guess, I didn't see the issue there. The porch would be on the south side towards their house. It's not impeding on another property. There is a natural barrier in between. It doesn't
When
impede
she
on
filled out the
the
application,
neighbor's
when
property.
she had been there, said that we're gonna build a garage and it's gonna have a porch that covers X amount of footage.
So we've got that. Don't you guys have that?
Yeah, we're looking at it.
No, gotcha.
It shows the porch kind of added on in
Right.
red.
Yes.
Is there any way she can amend this and say she's doing the garage and the porch? That way we'd be comfortable with everything that she's doing, and that way we'll know that this is all included. You know, is there any way she can amend her application?
Yeah, she can amend it now, there's
Yeah,
no
okay.
rule against that.
Okay,
If you feel more comfortable.
Brian, I'd like to recommend that she amends the application, so therefore it says exactly what she's wanting to do. The garage with the pad, and, you know, we can go from there.
Okay.
Because right now, we're not, I'm not looking at the fact that, the application's not correct. So what do we need to do for an amendment, Carl?
Well, she just wants to verbally amend it, and she accepts that as such, you know. Can do that now.
Do we need to make a motion or anything like that?
Yeah,
No, because it's her application, so.
Okay.
yes,
Okay.
yes, I can do that.
Okay, and could add that in the motion, whoever makes the motion, that the overall roof and the structure is 30 by 40,
Okay.
including the porch, you know.
That one we
Okay, are there any other questions for the applicant? Okay, you may sit down, thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, the public hearing is now closed. Are there any questions or concerns that the board like to pose? Any other discussion on this application?
Well, I guess I brought that up, the 6 foot. Now that I've heard that we're gonna include it, I'm all for it, let's do it. But I just can't, you tell me you need 6 feet, you got 6 feet over here, I wanna know why.
Why did you move it?
Yeah, why did you move it? Why would you want a variance?
Right.
Why worry about all of us? Just put the 6 foot on and go. So, yeah, I'd say we're open for a nomination here, as long as we say the 30 by 40
Yeah.
includes all that. So I make a motion, we take that 30 by 40 and let her do it.
I'll second that.
Okay, we have a motion and a second. Brenda, would you give us a roll call?
Howe,
Yes.
Johnson,
Yes?
Jones,
Yes.
Long,
Yes.
Maynard,
Yeah.
Monroe.
Yes.
Motion carried. Thank you, folks. And I hope all goes well on your project.
I guess we didn't ask for opposition.
Here.
We need to clarify that.
Yeah, we passed on the opposition, we didn't see anybody else here. So let the record state that we did consider that.
I looked real quick.
Thank you. All right, in other business, Kyle, do you have anything for us?
Nothing on my end.
Okay, Brian, do you have anything for us?
Yeah, you should have handouts there. So a couple of things, one of the things that we were gonna do tonight was start our review of the rules and procedures. Before we get into that, because that'll be the gist of it, if we can take a peek at the one that's got the Idlewild signs on top of it. So in reviewing last month's BZA meeting, we kind of hesitated and paused as far as the validity of being able to do a variance on a sign on that property, because it was R1, and when we looked at the zoning, or land use table, the land use table said that skating rinks weren't allowed in an R1. So just to kind of put that together in the thought process, Idlewild skating rink right now would be considered legal non-conforming. It was there prior to the adoption of the ordinance in our land use tables. So right now, as long as it stays there as is, it is legal. If they would tear the Idlewild down, then we're back in here like we just had in Matthews, back in here for, we can't rebuild it. So on the skating rink end of it, no, we could not build another skating rink there because land use would not allow it. What we were here for was a variance to the sign. So if you get into the sign ordinance, regardless of what is on the property, highlighted should be on this page with the freestanding sign. Highlighted on that page shows that an R1 is allowed to have a freestanding sign with a maximum of 8 square foot. So what they were coming in and doing was asking for a variance of that to go to 24 square foot. So again, the difference between land use and the sign use.
So how much was that, Ryan? How, a foot more or 2 foot?
Well, they were only allowed 8 according to
Yeah,
our ordinance,
yeah.
but the sign present was, again, pre-existing, non-conforming legal. What they did is pretty much replace the old sign with a new sign that was the same size.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. It looked like, I just went past and it looked like the same size. And I thought, it
So
wasn't.
what would happen in the future, say they have a fire there and building it, and they wanna rebuild it the way this reads, they can't.
Well, according to our non-conforming acts of God, if it takes over 50% of it, they can't rebuild. If it takes less than 50%, they can, as long as they stay within the same foundation.
You said acts of God.
Yeah.
Fire, tornado,
Arson?
No, you say fire, arson, that's not an act of God.
No.
No,
well, okay, not an active,
Fire could.
some kind of disaster.
I know what you're saying.
Yeah. And that is all outlined in our ordinance as far as non-conforming legal.
Okay.
I just gave you
Cause I
on
didn't
there,
wanna give, do something, and they do have something, and they wanna build in the future.
they can't add to it.
Right.
They can't build on it, they can't do additions.
As long as they stay within that foundation that's existing.
So what I gave you is what kind of up top, but that actually is about 3/4 of a page of A, B, C, D, E. I just gave you the one that kind of applied to what we were doing. So when Ed said, well, it's not allowed, I thought, wait a minute, did I miss something? And I started, but yeah, that's what it is. And then the last page is just a quick reference for freestanding.
Okay, well, very good. What would be their options if they did have a fire and the place burned, or if they wanted to rebuild it? Would they have to be,
They'd have to go to the
Go for
APC to rezone.
rezoning.
Yep.
okay,
So we've ran into that a couple of times, if you remember, over in Matthews. We've got a brand new TK house going up. When they bought the property, and it was about 3-4 months ago, they were here they were APC. There's a large section on the east side of Matthews that is industrial 1 for no one knows why. So when they bought this property, it had an older house on it. They tore that house down, came in to get a permit to build, and we found out it was I-1, which couldn't be residential. So we had to rezone that to get it so that they could build a brand new house.
What if the idle had one wall standing after the fire?
be more than 50%?
Big more
It'd be over
storage,
50%, so we get into our basically our non-conforming, what can we allow? And like I say, it's outlined in there, I just gave you the one that pertained to what we were doing.
So you're saying they have to have 50% standing or not standing?
Just a second.
Either way, you got 50%.
Because I didn't want to ever stop.
the glass half full or half empty?
But I know down in Florida, if you got one wall standing,
These rules, that's been there. I can't.
We're structures, so, so,
you'll see contractors leaving one wall, demolishing the rest of the
I know somebody did that once at their house, they only could tear a certain portion down to put it the way it was in something like that. So they do this work, and they get done, they went and tore this down, cause this was up. Or they tore it off and they couldn't rebuild it.
okay, so any non-conforming structure legally existing at the time of adoption of the amendment, this chapter, or any non-conforming structure created by extension of jurisdiction exists, trying to get to the, if it is destroyed or damaged by fire or other casualty or natural incident to the extent that the cost of restoration to the condition in which it was before the occurrence shall exceed 50% of the cost of the restoration of the entire building new, except as required by law, shall not be restored unless the building or structure or the use thereof shall conform to all regulations.
You couldn't build anything anymore, what it cost.
No.
You can't do that, so, yeah, you're not gonna rebuild.
Right. So that, I mean, their options would be to come
Yeah.
before the APC
And that's what
and
we
try
did.
to get it into, you know, local business, general business, or what would allow, the land use would allow for it.
If that did happen, Ryan, what would it be rezoned as then?
Right now, skating rinks are allowed local business, central core, which is only downtown, or general business. And it's allowed local business, general business by right, so if they got it rezoned, then they could just build. Right.
Okay, do you have anything else?
We handed out copies of the unsafe structure or unsafe building. So that is, again, what we're wanting to look at in the future is to eventually start moving our code enforcement cases through the BZA. That is the actual Indiana code that we would adopt to do so. So what I'm asking is, in your free time, you get a chance to kind of read through it. It'll kind of outline, again, what we do on a daily and weekly basis and deal with, but how we would bring it to you and what your authorities would be at that point. So, as much as we want to do it, it's up for you guys to say, yeah, let's do it.
So, how is this process, how do you see that? Is this an appeal from the landowner, property owner against your decision to
Pretty
have the
much.
structure taken down, or
No.
What is this
Demolitions
exactly?
will still go through the court. This will be more of a code enforcement case, let's say vehicles. We order that the vehicles be removed.
Okay, so they have undrivable vehicles
Right.
on their property.
Heavy trash, debris. This will be some of the lesser things that still we end up spending 4 to 6 months to get through court, to get taken care of. This
So
will
then we
pretty
go
much,
through the court, didn't we get it? Because the person said, no, I don't like that. I want a change on that. They come here.
right, we say we want it cleaned up, here's the ordinance.
Okay.
You know, we give them initial letter is 10, then we give them the 30.
Yep, warning letter,
And
and
then-
then attorney letter 10.
Yeah, so then at that point, we go to an attorney letter and we start moving towards court, and we initiate court. Here, it would be the 10-day letter, the 30-day letter, and then into BZA.
Okay,
What's the
so,
purpose of bringing it to us?
yeah,
In most cases, that's where it goes. In Marion, all of it goes to the board of works.
We're just gonna tell them the same thing you did.
Well, I understand, but that's why, I mean, that kind of,
Or for the most part.
yeah, the unsafe
It's
stuff
kinda
will
getting
kind
them,
of,
I think what Ryan's trying to, if I wanna appeal something, and you come here and we're saying, he's right, this way it's gonna go, then if you wanna appeal again, for the third time, we'll go to court.
but they'll initiate it.
Yeah,
Correct.
yeah.
They'll initiate, and the other good part, it cuts down timeframes.
Who will initiate it?
The landowner. So what happens is, you have a public nuisance of a property, Ryan will give an enforcement order, you violate our ordinance, here you go. Here's the order, clean it up. If they don't do such, they only have 10 days to appeal. The appeal would go to the Board of Zoning Appeals here. If they don't like your decision, of course, you know, we don't want them to say, hey, you're always gonna agree with Ryan, you know. Now, you guys obviously will have your own decision. If you say, no, we agree, then they have 10 days and they initiate an appeal to court. So now the process is we file a court action, they have to respond, we've gotta get service on them, we have to get them on the court's calendar. So the time frame, cause right now, when did we just file one, Nicole? We got a perfect one now, inoperable vehicles, the property's littered with vehicles. We just filed it, what?
We don't have a court date for that, they got 30 days,
Yeah,
that's fast tender.
Okay, I guess what I'm asking, if we deny the appeal, basically,
right,
and they don't take it to court,
then it's done, the final order.
and then what happens?
She tags the car and we send the records out.
Yeah, fine them.
So
you
you're
say,
saying we're
Ryan?
on the second step then?
Basically,
We're the
we
second
would,
step.
we would
We are.
tag the vehicles.
Yeah, you're the second
Have
step.
X amount of days to move
And
them.
then start removing.
And again, I mean, right now, the course is, like, we just have the one that went over there, but we're still waiting on the 30 days and a court date, and then the next thing you know, it's 6 months from now. And we're still trying to figure out what we're doing on this one property, and we've got 500 properties out there that we need to deal with. So it cuts her time down quite a bit.
I mean, the appeal process has been in our rules.
Yeah.
It's not been used as long as I've been here, though.
Right.
How is this, I'm not sure I understand how this is, the chain of events here. You tell them they've got 10 days to clean it up, and if they make no movement towards that, do you then schedule them for the next BZA meeting?
But
And
we would
they
give
may or
them,
may not show up, right?
well, we'd give them 30 days, and then they would be, Kyle would probably help on this, but, I mean, at 30 days, they have to get with us if they are appealing. us,
Okay,
our
so
decision.
it's the appeal process that we're doing.
Right.
We're not another link in the push to get them to do it. It's, you make a ruling on them, they either comply, or they don't, or they
Or
appeal it.
they come here to be heard.
Okay, now if they don't appeal it, what's your next step? If they don't appeal it to us, do you just
No,
take
you
them to
move
court,
forward.
or what do you do?
It would be for them to take us to court. We would move forward.
You
Correct.
would send records then, so to speak?
No, we would tag and then remove vehicles.
Okay,
I mean, these are the things that we're already doing.
yeah,
We're just having to wait 6 months to do it.
okay, and so you're just trying to give them an option to bring an appeal to us instead of just directly to court.
And it's- And this is, we sat down with Jerry Foss and I over there. Marion does this. They've got anywhere from 2 to 6 a month that they deal with. I don't know that we will deal with that much. But again, it cuts the process down. When we talk about our fight on blight, you know, we're dealing with this so much. We're dealing with, demos start next week. Back up, we're back into demo season through April. We were allowed a part-time code enforcement secretary to help get Nicole out of the office. So we're just trying to take that next step on how do we quicken the process.
You guys will be demoing in the winter time too?
Yeah, highway department's window for us is November through April, so we've got demos scheduled to start November 8th. We've got, following that, right behind it, we're hoping to get into Upland and following that into Van Buren. And then we've got 2 more court order out. So I mean, we've got them lined up, ready to go through the end of the year.
What if you knock somebody's house down, it's got a mortgage on
But we're doing, I mean, we're,
it? Well, that's what I'm asking about.
so, I mean, all of that is to court. We're trying to work with them, clean it up. A lot of the stuff that we're still getting down right now is 2012, 2014, 2015.
Well, you haven't answered my question. What do you do?
Anything you do, Bob, to get a demolition, you have to go to court. So if you file demolition on my house, I'm the real property owner. What they do
But if
is
you've got a
they
court
do a
mortgage.
title search, so anybody with a substantial property interest on it. So you would notify them as a defendant.
Okay, so
Let's
the
say
mortgage
bank
holder
X
gets notice.
Gets notice,
Yeah,
and if they wanna
sorry,
save
yeah.
the property, you know, it's on them.
Okay, That's what I was asking.
Right.
Does the mortgage holder get,
That Nicole does title search, all that. I mean, we try to dot all i's, cross all t's.
so I guess they could step in any time and take care of the problem,
Sure.
If they wanted to.
if they want.
And we've got demo contracts that we're gonna talk about in APC, that we've got several people in lieu of going to court, want to sign demo contracts. So we hold them just as liable for payment, but again, we're gonna got a ton of time now. And we'll do the same thing. I mean, we will dot our i's, cross our t's until we're taking it down.
So that cost will be to the property owner, if you guys have to do that demolition or whatever, that's not the cost of the county? The cost of.
Right, we will actually, when it is down, go back to court and we will file for collection. We have got, some of it trickles in. We've got people who pay $50 a month, sort of stuff right now. We just had a discussion today on a lot of the ones we got down at the beginning of the year. Because of the way they were taken to court, we had 10 houses that went to court, and we can't go after collections until all 10 go back to court. But we're gonna go ahead and try to send, Kyle said we can send bills, so we're gonna try to send bills.
I'm sorry, what Kyle say?
We're going to go ahead and send bills, because the individual said, just send me a bill, I'll pay for it. So we're gonna try to send it. Because that's the flip side of it, when we go to the council and we ask for help, like Mark just walked in, one of their questions is, are we getting it in this back? Any of this money that we're putting out back? So like the Upland building, one of the things that's gonna be awesome for us, that building was projected at about $45,000 to knock down. We're gonna be able to get it down between 9 and 12 with the highway department and contracts through Dave's excavating. We're actually gonna be able to pull that all the way down to $9,000 to $12,000. So that's what the highway department's been able to do. I mean, it's cut our demo costs in half.
So what happens to the taxes on that property?
We put, basically our collection, we put a lien on it.
So that paid off.
So either they pay us off or whoever buys it. And right now, we're getting, with everything we've got down in Jonesboro, we're actually getting some redevelopment. People interested in those open lots.
You got a couple more to knock down too.
Yeah, we got 3 or 4.
Yeah, you do.
We've got at least 2 more this year.
At least two.
Well, I wish the city would make their mind up on the church,
That's what's holding us up.
because they keep saying, well, in my opinion of it, the window's been up long enough, probably got mold in it, needs to just,
Right.
cause I wouldn't wanna have to spend $100,000 just to get it back in shape more.
But demos wouldn't come through the BZA.
No.
They'll still get court. Get us on track.
Okay, does the membership have any more questions about this process we've been talking about for appeals? Okay, why don't you just go ahead and write up how you see the process working and put it on next month's agenda, and we'll consider it and probably have a motion and a vote on that.
Well, it's actually an ordinance that has to come from the legislative bodies.
Okay,
So the
you're doing an
commissioners-
ordinance on
The
it.
commissioners have to initiate the ordinance. I think what they're looking back is, I think what Ryan's looking for is your feedback that you guys are open to it. To the commissioners. It's the commissioners and the town legislative bodies that adopt the unsafe building law by ordinance. And then they set the process and then,
So you're just making a motion that,
just like you did tonight, you didn't set the variance, but you allowed to grant it, so you're following the ordinance.
Okay,
And it is in here, but the reason we can't fully use it, you told me once before. We address, in our unsafe structures, we address the unsafe structural walls. But we can't fully, you told me.
It's never been adopted, that, it hasn't been adopted by the county. I looked it up at the time, but it's.
Yeah, you told
Yeah.
me, even though it's in there, there's a reason.
Yeah, it is. You know, I could look it up again, but it really hasn't been fully adopted, and I don't know what it is, cause I forgot to bring my county handbook, and I have to look it up. But, I mean, we've talked about this since the beginning of the year. you know,
Right.
When we did it.
okay. Let's, talk a minute about the adopting and amending rules of procedure. The last amendment or change to our rules that I believe we did was back in January of 2020, and that was simply to take out the attendance provision for members. We took out the 3-meeting rule, and we didn't replace it with anything. So, now I saw in the new rules here, that, that's coming back, but as a possibility. Now, one question that I wanna
Just real quick
bring
on
up
that.
here.
That's still in our published ordinance.
That's in the
What's
order.
that?
Not only the 3 meeting, but the, 3 and 7 is still in our published ordinance, so it never got changed.
Well, it was voted on as removing. So at this point, and that was in the minutes here, well, anyway, that was pulled. So we did have a vote on that, but okay, now, but moving on. And that's one of the differences that you pointed out here. Now, when BZAs are created, they are to make their rules, okay? And so, over time, we have adopted rules. We have the rule book, so to speak, and you've looked at that, okay? So, now, you would expect that there would be differences between what a county feels may be an important addition to their rules compared to state rules. That if the state rule had a certain thing that they felt was, okay, this is our guideline on this issue. But then the county here might say, well, this issue we take a little further with some additional steps that we feel are important, you know. Now, they both can coexist, and they cannot necessarily be in conflict. One just might go a little further. So, anyway, what I'm saying is to all the members here, in the next month, if you would read through these proposals, and then we can begin, I think, working through them item by item. Now, there's a lot here. I mean, we have not taken on anything this big before. So it's gonna take a little time, and, you know. But I'm not saying we have to go from page 1 to the last page. If there's something in here that somebody sees as a conflict and a problem, then maybe we should move that item up and address it early on in the process. Because as we address them and we vote on them, they can be changed. So, want to kind of make this an orderly process. It'll take some time. But I want it to be that when we're done, we feel good about what we've done, and we voted on each change. Is everyone okay with that?
Carl, this is for you. No, we can't do anything that's gonna you know, he says we wanna add or subtract to some of these ordinances. The legislature has the final say as far as, we can't change anything that the legislature has.
Well, I think on your rules of procedure, you guys are totally in charge of that
Okay.
now.
Right.
And I think what Ed mentioned is you can't, state law trumps, you know,
Right,
what
right.
you can't conflict with it. And I think what Ed was saying, if you want to do something that provides more due process, you can go further than what the state law is the minimum standard.
Okay.
But this, you know, and you can't, you know, meetings, like your meetings, you can do a lot of things here, but you obviously can't violate open door law.
Right.
You know, you can't, you know, you could, there's a lot of things you do, and a lot of these is just kind of rehashing what state law is. But I mean, it's, you know, you could obviously make any type of rule you wanna make, you know, for yourself.
And in the past, whenever we've had a conflict where we said, okay, what are we doing and what does state code say? If they're different, we've gone with state code to be honest, you know, to be legal. So. Okay,
That's what he handed out there, that's state code.
Right.
yeah, this is state code,
You've actually got,
but if ours is not in conflict, but says basically the same thing differently,
you've got our
it doesn't
rules.
have to be changed.
In red, you have Indiana code, and then in blue, you have Indiana planning interpretations.
Yeah, but what I'm looking at is all red here, and that's state. That's what you're not supposed to.
So we,
Right, that's what I'm saying.
I mean, as you
Yeah, we
get
don't wanna be in
into,
conflict with state,
Right.
But we could, what
But-
it's saying, if we wanna add and
it
make
doesn't
it,
have to be exactly the same.
you
I
know,
understand that, but I'm saying, I'm looking at a whole page of red,
Yeah.
and you're not gonna change it.
No,
It's just, I understand what you're trying to say, or you did say, but
and we've got some areas that the actual code is, that we've got in our rules of procedure has been repealed. So it's, and I've got, like I said, so you've got arrows, it's hard to follow, but I just tried to, here's what they've got, Indiana code interpretation, here's what we got, Indiana code, as much as I could.
well, I'm gonna surprise you, I read it, and we're in conjunction with BZA, and we have to help them with the animal feeding operation ordinance, wireless facility ordinance, all that. When did we ever get into that? When did that go on there, or did I miss it
What we
13
have-
years ago?
What we have published on our website, BZA Rules of Procedure, published on the website, was adopted October 22nd, 2019.
Oh, well, I must have missed it, but I thought we were getting into pretty big stuff here, but we're already in big stuff from the BZA.
From the ABC, or with the BZA,
Yeah,
ABC.
So that
that man right there.
Yeah. Okay.
So-
Mark, it's you.
Yeah, so I didn't know we were into that, but you say it was adopted in 2019?
2019.
Okay.
So again, I mean, some of for me, a lot of this has been kind of neat because I've been able to dive really deep into a lot of this sort of stuff. One of the neat things was, as far as our rules of procedure and our BZA, we are supposed to make decisions based off of our actual ordinance.
Understand that.
Area Plan Commission are supposed to base all decisions off of our comprehensive plan and not the ordinance.
We don't want to break
So
the laws or the rules of it, I understand that.
APC is getting ready to do the same. I made a mistake doing them both, but APC is getting ready to go through and do rules of procedure also with the same setup.
Well, this is my last meeting for 5 months. My wife said she'd try to help me get on TV, but if I don't get on TV, I don't get a vote. If it's just a
correct.
telephone, if it's a telephone, I don't get
You
a
can
call.
still, there's a camera. If you got,
I said, she's gonna try to get me on TV, I said that.
yeah.
I don't know how to do that. I'm lucky to even have a
well, but you got a smart TV, it's usually just like computers go out to internet.
I'm just telling you, I'm gonna try to be there, but I'm gonna be gone until April. So I can't get on, and if I can't vote, I don't wanna be in a meeting.
Well, and not only that, are those counted against
Yeah, they're.
Bob because he can't get on, or some reason why, you know, there's some kind of technical difficulty that he just can't get on? Are those counted as absence?
Yeah.
Well, okay, here's one thing to consider, is you get 2 meetings, and then you have to be here
That's right.
to vote. So you may want to look at, when you get your packet, what meetings do I want to vote for? Now, you know, because you're gonna be gone, like you said, what, 5 months? There may be 2 meetings you want to be at.
If I can get on.
No,
If
I
get
think
on
you
the
can,
calendar,
Kyle,
I'll be here.
check this out.
I don't think it works that way.
Can he be on the meeting
Be on
and
Zoom.
not vote and still be eligible to vote in another meeting? Or is that participating and he can't participate with that?
That Zoom.
Well,
that's-
That's the brand new statute, you
Right.
know.
That Zoom.
I don't have it in front of me,
These.
but,
All right,
I
yeah.
got it, I got it underlined.
okay.
I got it underlined. So I'll find it real quick.
Yeah, I'd be happy to look at it if you haven't. Thank you.
So it's almost the last page. There's plenty of time.
Yeah, this is the rules you have here.
Yeah, and that's state,
Yeah,
that's state.
but there's a state statute I'd like to look at.
Electronic
I-
participation,
Yeah,
That is-
electronic participation in meetings.
and you're about 4 from the end.
That's it. 7.6, there's a
You're the
copy and
4th
paste
page
of
from
what we
the
adopted.
last, 4th page from the last.
Almost to the last page.
Like I said, I'm gonna try.
Yeah, okay.
I'm gonna try.
And, yeah, there might be, you know, some meetings.
Well, you don't have one in December, right? December, you don't have one?
No, we'll have a meeting.
It should be
July's the only one.
July's the only one we
Yeah,
passed.
July's the only one.
Well, and 2, I mean, I know the governor just extended the emergency, so I'm, very honestly, I'm not sure when that expires again. It hasn't expired yet. So at this point, you know, we're still, you can show up and do by telephone or whatever.
So, yeah, and, okay, as long as that's in play, then you can
Use the
attend
phone.
any meeting
I just know what that
and
says.
participate.
Yeah, so if he can't get on TV,
You know,
it's all in, it'll
just
be
call
in. Right now, we have.
What I'm reading, it says 50% of the meetings, is that what you got?
At least 50% of the
You have to
members
be
must
here.
be present.
Oh, okay.
And then you have to
Member may
attend,
not- No, it
you
says a
can't attend
member.
more than 50% in a calendar year.
Yes,
Right.
well, that gives you more than 2 meetings.
Yeah, but a member may attend 2 consecutive meetings, a set of meetings by electronic communication. A member must attend in person at least 1 meeting between the sets of meetings.
Oh,
That's the
okay.
catch.
Okay, I don't see that. Where's
Yeah,
that at?
that's
That's
843.
843. And at this point, the emergency is still going,
Okay, I
which
see.
at least has to be to the end of this month.
Right.
I don't know.
But I do appreciate
Can we,
the papers you're giving us. I really do, I appreciate that. Cause I didn't know half that stuff. We've got I've got the recordings and all that stuff that's supposed to let us know how smart we are and all that. I read this and whoa, I didn't know.
Right.
Okay, well, are there any other closing comments anyone needs to make? You're done, right? Yeah. You said you had a couple, okay. All right, then. We'll consider this meeting officially closed. Thank you.
Going to Florida, are you? What part?
Bill?
Bill, we split, the other thing for 5 months. I was gonna say if you had a, Thank you. Warm weather.
I know my wife does. I can handle it. I wouldn't lie about it.
Yeah.
Does Kyle get one of these sets?
Is that like,
Yeah, we got a house. I built it for a building.
I thought so, but I didn't want to grab it too quick.
Those three I always put together, I just really put them. I may not remember that at the end, but. Okay, the findings of fact, okay. Oh, that's all right, she can get them.
What do I need?
The findings of facts.
I know he says like, you know, he's getting pushed out, but just by saying that he has to, you know,